Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sit Down with Ted. My name is Ted Davis. We're on the campus of Schreiner University, right in the heart of the Hill Country. Schreiner is the Hill Country's university, and today we are very pleased to be joined by an alumni. He is a graduate of Schreiner University, Dwain Price, a longtime reporter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, now works for the Dallas Mavericks. And Dwain Price, you are wearing your Schreiner colors today. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it, Ted. I'm glad to be here and all that. I enjoyed my time. When I was at Schreiner, it was a junior college. I was there from 73 to 75. And then later on, it turned into a university. But I had a great time in Kerrville. I mean, everybody treated me so well. I love that part of the country. A lot of people need to go visit that part of the country because they missing out if they hadn't been there before.
Oh yeah, the Hill Country. I say it's the best part of the best state. So come on down. We'd love to have you. You and I were on the same beat for a long time. I was working for the Dallas Mavericks in the late '80s into the '90s. You were at the Fort Worth Star Telegram. You just recently have been named to the Texas Sports Writers Hall of Fame. So congratulations, Dwain Price.
Well, thank you so much, Ted. And like Mark Cuban, he told me the other day, they didn't have anybody else to nominate.
Hey, you're in there with some good people, though, man. I want to take you back to those days that I talked about. It was pre-internet, and it was really the heyday of newspapers. And I don't think people realize the fierce competition that happened in Dallas, in that market, really in radio, television, and newspaper. But there were three newspapers at the time. There was the Morning News, which was the morning edition in the Dallas area. There was the Times Herald, that was the afternoon, then the Fort Worth Star Telegram. And there was a lot of competition. Great columnists, Blackie Sherritt at the Dallas Morning News, Frank Luxa, Randy Galloway, Skip Bayless was at the Times Herald, Jim Reeves and you at the Star Telegram. Take us back to that time. What was that like?
Now, when I first got to the DFW area, I was working at the Dallas Times Herald. I
Okay.
got there in February of '90, and it closed in December of '91. But I do remember going on road trips, and the guys from the morning news, they wouldn't even speak to you. You know how it is when you go on a road trip. The PR department from the other team would always sit the visiting guys besides each other because they think you guys got something in common. Y'all know each other. I got to the point where I told the PR guys from the visiting team, don't sit me beside those guys because if I didn't say hello, they would not speak at all. I don't know what was wrong with those guys. They act like they was aliens from another planet. I mean, you can't even say hello. Your job got you so hooked up to the point, but you can't even speak. I mean, it was so embarrassing. I felt embarrassed from them that they let their job do that to them to the point where they couldn't speak.
Well, when you went to the Times Herald and then the Star Telegram, were you the Mavericks beat reporter? Because I saw you a lot.
Yeah, I did. I was Mike McAllister was the main guy at the Dallas Times Herald, and I was like the backup guy at the Times Herald. But when I got to the Fort Worth Star Telegram, when I first got there, I was all over the place, like a general assignment as a writer. I covered some high school stuff, but my main thing was the NBA. So I wanted to do the NBA. So they put me on the NBA. After I covered the Cowboys in 1994, Barry Switzer's first year, I covered the Cowboys that year, and then I went back to cover the Mavericks full time. Covered the NBA and the Mavericks.
What was the biggest story you covered during your time in Dallas Fort Worth?
The biggest story, well, one of the biggest ones was Eric Williams or the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you remember, he
Yeah.
had a terrible accident on 635, and to the point where he almost killed himself. So when he rehabbed and recovered and got back and got ready to play, he gave me the story, and it was they had a war. Speaking of war, they had a war at the time in Bosnia, and when you put the newspaper in the newspaper bin, my story on Eric Williams was at the top of the fold, and the war in Bosnia was at the bottom of the fold, and it was at the Sunday paper. So the Sunday paper is the largest paper, of course, during the week. And I won so many awards for that particular story. So that was my biggest story.
Tells you where the Cowboys were in the overall arc of Dallas, right? I mean, the Cowboys were as big as it got.
Right, right. They were bigger than anything. And as you know, right now they're the most expensive franchise in the world, not just in the United States. Bigger than all those Manchester, all those soccer teams overseas.
You were there for the Jimmy Johnson era, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there the day that Jimmy and Jerry had that fake press conference, whatever you want to call it, that love fest. And when Jerry got rid of Jimmy and said, "You got to go," even though you just won back-to-back Super Bowls for me, I got to get rid of you for whatever reason. Those guys just couldn't get along. I couldn't understand it. I mean, I always tell people, if Jerry Jones would have left Jimmy Johnson alone, he probably would have 7 more Super Bowl victories, because Jimmy was just an unbelievable head coach. This guy knew how to get the best out of all his players.
Talking to Dwain Price, he was a reporter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for years. Going back to that firing of Jimmy Johnson, it happened after he won a Super Bowl. I mean, that just doesn't happen, and it shows you how that relationship had been broken. I can't remember the reporter's name, but I think he was with a Dallas paper, maybe the Morning News, and this happened really at the owners' meeting after that Super Bowl. I think it was in Orlando. Jimmy
Mhm.
Johnson is at a table with a bunch of his coaches and friends, and Jerry Jones is over by the bar, and he's ranting, and he's angry at Jimmy, and this reporter is listening to Jones do this, and then Jones goes over and he's going to make a toast at the table,
Mhm.
and Jimmy Johnson wouldn't raise his glass to toast Jerry Jones. And Jerry
Uh-oh.
had to kind of slink back to the bar. And by this time, Jerry is frosted and he's telling this reporter that I could hire any coach in the country and he would win with the talent we have. He said, I could hire Barry Switzer and we could win with the talent. The reporter laughed him off like, oh, come on, Jerry, because he's kind of drunk. And then two
Right.
days later, it happened or something like that. Did you hear that story?
I heard that story. I don't know the reporter, but I did hear that story. And the other story that I kept hearing was Jimmy wanted the credit that Jerry was getting, and vice versa, and they just couldn't get along for whatever reason. And it's sad because they both went to the University of Arkansas, and they both played football, and they were roommates on the road because of their last names. They do it in alphabetical order.
Right.
So the coach roomed them together. So I thought they were the best of friends, especially since Jerry hired Jimmy when Jerry bought the Cowboys. So I don't know, man. That whole thing was just so crazy.
Did
But
you ever?
that day of that press conference, man, it's so surreal. I mean, it was so many members of the media there. It was at Valley Ranch at the time the Cowboys were, and it was just reporters were everywhere. And you would have thought that was a Super Bowl. There was so many reporters there.
You were talking about Valley Ranch. Did you cover the whole White House story when that broke?
I was there during that time. During that time, I didn't know about it was right there, but I found out later. I said, "Oh, it's just right up the street."
If people don't know what the White House was, it was a place where the players actually pooled money and bought a house very
Mhm.
near the practice facility that they could go party. It was their party house. And it was
Right.
kept secret for a while, but then finally it broke and it got out in the press. And I remember Nate Newton had a quote in the newspaper that was one of the most remarkable quotes I'd ever seen. Nate Newton, who was an offensive guard for the Dallas Cowboys, was quoted as saying, "We've got this place over here where we want to take our whores and girlfriends. We're trying to be responsible, and they jump on us for that too." I think
Yeah.
in the history of mankind, it's the first time that the word whores and responsibility have been linked in one sentence. What do you remember
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I don't think Nate realized what he said and the context he was saying, and this is not going to go over very well. But it's just something that they should not have done. Obviously, for myriad of reasons. But boys will be boys, I guess, is what they said. But did they get in trouble with that? What happened? I mean, who? I want to know whose name was on the deed of the house. Who owned the house? You know what I mean? Did that ever come out?
I don't think so. Who cleaned up the house, by the way? That's what I wanna know after the parties. That was an amazing time. Your time with the Mavericks, what was the biggest story you covered there?
Time with the Mavericks, the biggest story. Oh man, it has so many. Well, I will tell you that. Well, the biggest story from my standpoint was Dirk Nowitzki's first year was my first time being on the Mavericks full time at the Star Telegram, and the season didn't start till February, first week of February.
That
A
was the
lot of people.
lockout year.
It was a lockout year,
Yeah.
and Ted, I had been in one house, and I had moved from that house 1 week later, and we immediately went on a 7 game, 11-day road trip. So I'd been
Uh-huh.
in my new house for 7 days and on the road for 11 days. We went to Phoenix. This is when I'm gonna date you. This is when the Grizzlies were still in Vancouver. So we started
Okay.
out in Phoenix, went to Vancouver, went to Portland, went to LA to play the Lakers, went to Oakland to play the Warriors, then went back to LA to play the Clippers, then went to Phoenix and came home. And that second trip in LA, I took a nap. I was so exhausted. I woke up and nothing was registering in my head. I thought I had died. I'm jumping up and down, screaming and hollering. I just couldn't figure out where the heck I was. But when I got back home, the two houses that I lived at, the one I moved to, it's both of them is one main street. I went to the old house. I forgot I had moved. And it was like really weird, man. And a lot of people don't think. And that second time, I mean, that last stop in Phoenix, I had a rental car, and I had the guy to bring it around. And I'm standing outside with 4 or 5 other guys. I'm trying to remember what kind of car did I have, because I had been in so many cars in a short period of time. And the guy just couldn't believe the fact I didn't know what kind of car I had. No, I said, no, I don't. Here's my ticket, but you're gonna have to tell me, man. Like I tell you, and you travel a lot. You know how it is.
Oh,
Everybody who travels a lot don't travel. They think traveling is great. Not the way they travel in the NBA. 7 games, 11 days in 2 different countries. That's crazy.
yeah. I remember one time I woke up in Cleveland and I rolled out of bed because I needed to go to the bathroom, during the night. And I ran smack dab into a wall because I was thinking I was in the hotel room yesterday where the bathroom
Yeah.
was on the other side. So that,
Yeah.
that can
I got the
happen.
same story. Yeah, because we was in the Ritz-Carlton in one city, and then Ritz-Carlton in the next city, the bathrooms over here, and I did the same thing. Scared the mess out of me. What the bathroom doing over here?
Oh, one night we're getting in late. You get in late a lot
Right.
when you travel in the NBA. So I had my key and I go to the door and I open it and I walk in. The room is dark and there's a guy sleeping in the bed and he's asleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I just backed out real quietly. I didn't wake him up or anything. I mean, if he had a gun, it could have been shot. I mean, what the heck? So I go back down and I say, somebody in this room, and they gave me another room.
I had
So
the same thing happen to me in Houston. They gave me a room. So it was 2 people in there. I said, "Oh my goodness, what is going on here?" Scared the mess out. Like you said, if he had the gun, he could have shot me, man. I said, "Wow."
Oh, I could do road stories all day, but, you mentioned, Nowitzki. That was right at the end of my time with the Mavericks. I was with the Mavericks from 88 to 97. I was
Mhm,
there when Don Nelson came in and kinda broke up that team of Jimmy Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, and Jason Kidd, and
mhm.
then he in one day, as I recall, he got Nowitzki in the draft, and he traded for Steve Nash, and then
Right.
that changed everything, didn't it?
Right. And the crazy part about it, I'm gonna do this, say this as kindly as I can. Leading up to drafting Dirk, there was a string of tall white guys that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So when Dirk gets there, and his first game, I was at his first game in Seattle. I think he had like 6 points and 2 rebounds. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, Nelly, you got another tall white guy that can't play. And to Dirk's credit, every year, Ted, he would add something new to his game,
Yep.
And the next thing you know, he was just all world. And I tell this story to a lot of people. Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash, Friday night and Saturday night, when all the other players out, or what, not all of them, but a lot of them out partying at
Yeah.
12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. Those 2 guys were in the gym working out. Then next thing you know, Dirk's the MVP of the NBA. Steve Nash was the back-to-back MVP of the NBA. So that lets let people know you got to make some sacrifices, and hard work does pay off, because those 2 guys there are great examples of that.
Yeah, really turned the Mavericks around. They were bad. I was there during the 11-win season and the 13-win season back to back. So I saw the bottom of it. And then when he made those moves to get Nash and Nowitzki, that eventually led to the championship that they won. And so and now you're working for the Mavericks, aren't you? Are you an employee of the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, I'll tell you the story. I had been at the Star Telegram for over 25 years, and then they called me in. And where I live, I'm like almost an hour drive from the office. So I don't go over there maybe 7, 8 times a year. And most of the time, I go with something wrong with my laptop. I need to repair. So they called me in, and I had to stop at Walmart on the way over there to get something. And I walk in Walmart, and there's a guy with a T-shirt on. On the back of his T-shirt are the words, "God's got my back." So I go into the office, and then they told me they was going to lay me off. I said, "What?" So I was just shocked. And when I got back home, I've been knowing Mark Cuban since 2001. Now this is 2017. I've never had Mark's telephone number, but I could always reach him by email because he always responds sometime within an hour. So I emailed him and told him what happened and asked him, did he have anything? He emailed me back, Ted, in 41 minutes. He said, I don't have anything, but I'm gonna create something for you. And I say it's in 41 minutes because it was in 41 minutes. And at that time, I spent over half of my career covering the Mavericks, and the greatest player in Dallas Mavericks history is Dirk Nowitzki, and his jersey number is 41. That's how I know God got a hand in all this. I don't care what man said. I don't care what woman said. God running the show, the
I
whole show,
agree.
and nothing but the show.
I agree. I think what life is, and I can say this about myself, when one door closes, another door opens. You just have to have faith in that, don't you?
Right. And here's the crazy part about that email, Ted. The only thing I saw from Mark Cuban was I don't have anything for you, but I'm gonna create something for you. And I was trying to teach my son a lesson 2 years because I kept the email. 2 years later, I was showing it to my son. It was some more words on that email, Ted. The rest of the words were I don't have anything for you, but I'm create something for you until you find something. I never saw that the first time around. First of all, since you said you create something from me, my brain stopped right there.
Well, yeah, problem taken care of, right?
Right. I've been with the Mavericks ever since. This coming May will be 9 years.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
that's a good story, Dwayne. Well, you went into the Hall of Fame when on March 6th?
This past Saturday, March
Yeah,
7th.
yeah, on the 7th. Well,
Right.
congratulations. You've had a long career, Schreiner graduate. How often do you come back to Schreiner? We'd love to have you back one day. Football is coming back. You got to come back for a football game.
Somebody told me that the other day. Actually, the recall is coming up in April, late April. Is that right? This year?
Yes,
The
yes.
trying, I'm gonna be there because only time I could come is if the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, and they're not gonna make the playoffs this year and their last game is April the 12th against Chicago. So by the 16th, I'll be through. So I'm coming up there this year.
Okay.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Circle September 5th on your calendar. That's the first football game in almost 70 years. It'll be
Whoa.
played at the high school stadium here, and it's going to be a big event, so we'd love to have you back.
I'll come back. If I don't have anything to do Mavericks wise, I'll be there. At Kirby Otavia High School?
No, yeah, at the stadium that they play, the high school stadium.
Okay. Did I tell you, Ted? My brother played basketball for Schreiner. His name is Joe Price,
Okay.
and he had a scholarship there. And after he graduated, he coached at Kirby Otavia High School. And in 1978, he took an all-white girls golf team to the state tournament.
Well,
And, and
congratulations.
and then in 1989, he took an all-black boys basketball team to the state tournament from Port Arthur Lincoln, and they won the state title, the Class 4A state title, the same year that Shaquille O'Neal's team won the Class 3A state title. Shaquille O'Neal, a lot of people don't know, graduated from San Antonio Cold High School.
Yes.
And my brother won over 500 games, and he was inducted into 2 Hall of Fames last year.
Wow. What's his name? What's your brother's name?
Joe Price Jr.
Joe Price Jr. Went
Right.
to Schreiner too, you said, correct?
He went to Schreiner too. Yeah.
So that's a family thing with you guys.
That's a
Congratulations.
that's a family thing. And one more addition to that is Lovie Smith was inducted to the Hall of Fame with myself this past weekend. And when Lovie Smith was coaching at the University of Illinois, he hired my nephew, Joe Price III, on his coaching staff at that time. So now we got a connection with him, and now my nephew is coaching the wide receivers coach at the University of Kentucky.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Dwayne, you had a great career. You're still working. We'd love to have you back at Schreiner anytime, and thank you for joining me today.
Well, I appreciate it, Ted. Just call me anytime. And like
All
I say,
right.
I'll be there for the recall.
All right. Schreiner alum, Dwain Price, a member of the Texas Sports Writers Hall of Fame. My name is Ted Davis. See you next time on Sit Down with Ted here at Schreiner University.